Hi everyone, I'm His Lordship, the leader of the Wilderness Guardians. Happiness is only real when shared. I got that quote from a movie that I saw a few years ago called Into the Wild. I want you to think about that because I believe that that quote sums up what makes Runescape a good game. Anyway, while you have that quote in your head throughout this movie, I'd like to start by saying what a week it's been. In terms of announced updates, we have 3 monumental changes to the game. The first in Old School with the Wilderness rework, which I am so excited about and personally had a hand in facilitating. Secondly, the EOC rework. And thirdly, maybe the most important of all of them, the Legacy update. Who knows where Runescape will be in 6 months? But it's certainly going to be a very different game. Will these updates work? And if they do, how well do we think they will work? We'll get to that shortly. The topic of this video is how to fix Runescape. And I believe I have a possible solution that people may dislike. But I firmly believe it's the best way forward. We are in a real mess here. A real mess. All 3 updates are fantastic, especially the Combat Legacy update, but it's created more division than ever between Old School and RS3. 1 year ago, I went against the vast majority of PKers and begged for us not to have the Old School servers. The video of me talking about the 07 servers is in my channel if you're interested. The link is on the screen now. Believe me, I got ripped into hard for taking that stance, and people still hate me for it. But I'll explain why I was concerned about that update. Firstly, the division we face now. Better that we had gone all out for one game or the other. I have a clan that is split in 2 right now over both versions of the game, reduced to bickering. We know that Jagex will never close RS3 and make 07 in the future. That's why I wanted to fix RS3 rather than escape it. Would we have revitalized the wilderness in RS3? We certainly have in RS07. Would RS3 be conducting polls like they are now, without Old School doing them first? Would we have even been able to sustain the clan world for this long without Old School? All pointless hypotheticals, and we'll never know if I was right or wrong for opposing the 07 servers. But I always felt that if the PKers didn't abandon RS3, this Legacy update would have come sooner, and the Wilderness Revival might actually have been brought to RS3 instead of 07, because the PKers would have been there, fighting for it the whole time. Here's my guess as to what will happen in the future. Don't think I'm trying to argue this theory, I'm not. It's a guess. There are 3 possible player migrations. The first is obviously players moving from 07 to RS3. The second, the other way, from RS3 to 07. And finally, retired players moving to RS3. Retireds won't go to 07 because if they wanted to, they would have by now. But who knows, maybe the Wilderness revitalization will be enough. A community poll involving several hundred PKers shows that just short of half will try RS3 because of this Legacy update. A small percentage, I guess, will like it and stay. A larger percentage will try it and then remember that the Wilderness is dead in RS3 and then retire from RuneScape altogether or switch back to 07 where we have better chances of flourishing wilderness. Why? I've already mentioned, sorry I'm reading notes again, RS3 Wilderness is so redundant, so PKing would still be better on 07 because of mod Matt K's hard work with the revitalization. Now, here's an important thing. Even if most people who switch to RS3 to try it out decide at the end to come back to 07 after dabbling in RS3, the small percentage that stay or retire for good, and let's call it 20% for now, is still enough to damage PKing in 07. We already have too many worlds, too few clans and PKs, and that number continues to shrink. Shaving 20% off that small base of PKs would be a mortal blow. Right? We're already on the knife's edge. We can recover from this, but if we were to lose 20% to RS3, that's the end of it. Recovery would be extremely difficult. That's why I believe the best possible outcome is to take the best of both versions of the game and make one unified game. It won't be anywhere near perfect, but it'll be a good start. Instead of bickering amongst ourselves about which version is better, we can turn our attention to the actual gameplay. We have been divided and conquered. The PKs need to be unified if we're to have any chance of fixing the game. It's not what many of you will want to hear. I have a lot of subscribers who swear by old school, saying RS3 is beyond hope. Trust me, I hear you. A lot of subscribers are RS3 players and won't go near old school. Some of them are calling me a whining bitch. Well, others have given up on both. With the combat rework and legacy in RS3 and the wilderness revitalization in old school, both are all fantastic updates, I'm uncertain of the future and I'm not playing either version right now because I only have the time to try one, as do most of my viewers who are now well into adulthood. So we're all facing this question about where to go. That question should not exist at all. Of course, it's a dangerous thing to make predictions now. In a week, we've already been told about an old school revitalization, a new combat beta, and now the legacy update. We're all very anxious, and the best advice I can give is to talk to Jagex on the forums. They have proven to us that they are listening, and that's beyond a doubt now. Flood them with your ideas and your demands to ensure that these updates work. The worst thing you can do is say nothing and let them release an update that does not make you happy. Now here's why I'm prepared to anger a lot of players in asking for the abolition of old school and the creation of a single game under RS3. We cannot set our sights on pleasing just the current player base and hanging on to the existing players and even bringing back old players. Now here's why. Think of the entire player base as a biscuit. Okay? We had a biscuit to begin with, and every update that Jagex releases, they're going, every game-changing update, like a really monumental one, like the removal of the wilderness or the evolution of combat, they're going to upset a portion of their players. You know, some will be happy, I suppose, but a portion is going to get disenchanted and quit the game. Pardon me. So now we're left with a small player base. Then another monumental update is going to come, and Jagex is going to try and please most people, but a small portion is going to get unhappy and quit again. So we have an even smaller player base. And this is going to happen update after update. The player base is going to shrink because Jagex is going to try and please the majority, a minority are going to quit. But very slowly this biscuit is going to start disappearing. Jagex has spent years trying to hang on to this piece of biscuit, when in fact they should really start thinking about getting a new biscuit, which means recruiting new blood. Because as we know, Runescape was a fashionable thing 10 years ago. Not so much now. Now, it's great if Jagex can pick up their former players because we love this game so much. This is delicious. Sorry, it's coconut and chocolate. It's great if they can pick up their former players because we love this game so much and they could reward our loyalty. But they should be looking at the next generation. The pleasure of my generation should be absolutely incidental. Yes, we matter, but we're all going to quit eventually, all of us. Even the diehards like me. Especially the old school players, and many of my subscribers quit long ago. You might find the statement a bit controversial, that we should matter less than new players. So go ahead and discuss that in the replies. Maybe I'm taking things too extreme. As it happens, Jagex doesn't have to choose between our generation and the next in this case. By fixing PKing for us, they will make Runescape attractive to a generation that grew up on extremely fast-paced games like Call of Duty, for example, because PKing is much faster paced than the rest of RuneScape. Can this new generation enjoy a slower game like RuneScape? Of course, if they can play Minecraft, they can play RuneScape. It's just a matter of bringing it back into fashion. As long as Jagex doesn't forget a few key points, of course. Firstly, that RuneScape should be social. The biggest point of an MMORPG is the interaction. Massively multiplayer. I've spoken to literally hundreds of ex-RuneScape players in real life. I'm not talking about reading this on the forums. I know hundreds of people in real life who once played RuneScape. Their favourite memories of the game were going to school and telling their friends they had full rune or an abyssal whip or something like that. Now, remember the quote that I opened with, happiness is only real when shared. They enjoyed being part of the clan and going into the wilderness. Every day in the wilderness was different. That's the thing about old school RuneScape, it gave so much freedom. You landed in Lumbridge after Tutorial Island and you just did your thing. You could do anything. It was so player driven. I mean, yes, the combat triangle sucked and people could one item barrage or claw spec you in the wilderness. And that was really annoying. But guess what? We're humans. We find ways to adapt to things. All the content we're getting now is so strict. There's only one way to play. With warbands. Now, you wanted to create warbands to promote some PKing. But it was such a controlled way of PKing. There was no roaming around, choosing who to fight. I mean, we had to fight certain people for crying out loud. Now with the interface and needing to hit enter to type, we can't even chat as easy as we used to be able to. And I know that Legacy is going to fix that, which is fantastic. I would actually transfer that to the EOC equivalent as well. It took me 5 minutes how to figure out how to PM someone. And I am a veteran. If it took me, I'm sure it must exist in a tutorial somewhere, but I did not see it. You don't need to talk to players in-game anymore for the large part, and that is such a sad thing. It's sort of like RuneScape is being robbed of its multiplayer element in that respect. With all these Jagex employees, you've created a very specific way to play the game. They've overshot and robbed us of freedom. I'm only playing for my clan, Scale it all back, make your updates simple, and make RuneScape social again. I want new players to log in, ask where Varrock is, get killed for their full steal in level 5 wilderness, and explore the world on their own terms. They can walk past all these little roadsides and run away from the highwayman. I mean, the magic of exploration, it's just a wonderful thing. Humans adapt. We are really good at it. So what if they don't know, everything at once? Personalizing this game is one of the best parts about it. Have any players here tried the new RS3 tutorial on new accounts? Once you land in the main game, you're put into a quest straight away. Jagex is already leading you down a very specific path, and there is so much new content for a new player to learn. The tutorial is actually a little bit longer. If you recall from my last video, I showed you a bit of footage of introducing new players to RuneScape. Now, from my own experience, there is a span of about 15 minutes where they're prepared to absorb information. And after that learning curve, they want to get their hands dirty. Now, this new tutorial took them about 35 minutes to complete. And after that, they had this quest to do, and that took them, well, they never got to the end of it because I didn't give them enough time. But the point is, you're just throwing so much information at them, they don't get instant gratification. So I can see why a lot of players would quit very early on after trying the game. The people I showed RuneScape to were most interested in their own agendas. They had so much fun picking their costumes. They looked at a world map and they wanted to see what Falador was like. So I beg you, Jagex, do not control the game like you are doing it now. Give us more freedom. I finish with 2 words that I urge Jagex to meditate on. Simple and social. I'll go into more detail in the future, but releasing quests and new skills and bosses one after the other, it's such wasted energy. You've fallen into that routine. That's not going to please anyone except the hardcore veterans looking for the next thrill. Spend your time freeing up this game so that high school kids can go to school and compare notes. Bring back the times when humans matter more than the content. You can release crap content, and you have in the past. Humans will deal with it. Please do not underestimate our ability to adapt. I mean, for crying out loud, it's why I'm still here. I outgrew this game about 5 years ago. I mean, I'm a 26-year-old man nurturing a competitive music career, as you can see behind me. What the fuck am I doing making YouTube movies about PKing? I mean, how sad could this be seen as? My clan is made up of real people, and they have kept me here longer than your game has. That is something to learn from. You know, after the magic of Runescape faded, I still love the game because I love my clan. MMOs must put people above content. And you forgot about that when you established a world-class team of developers who could create as much content as you could imagine. I mean, I love Jagex. That is why I make these videos, because I believe that you listen. I believe I've met you guys. I mean, people think when I'm doing all this complaining that I hate Jagex, but actually I'm offering the most constructive way of getting my thoughts across. So it is because I love Jagex that I make these videos, and I believe in your capacity to improve. You have amazing developers. I've met them. They have pretty much defined browser games of this generation. It's just that they're too good. Well, is such a thing possible? It's just that they've got so much control over the content, we have lost humanity in the process. Please think about that. Change your direction. Make a free game that people want to talk about. Give new players instant gratification. They want to grab an axe straight away, chop a tree, light the logs, and cook something, some shrimps on it. They want to get their hands dirty and interact with the world. It'll be a few hundred hours before they attempt a Grandmaster quest or look at dungeoneering or take on necks. Your job is to keep them around for long enough. And that's not happening as well as it should be. They have far too much to learn, and that's why this legacy update is good. It takes away the complexities of the EOC, which you most definitely designed for veteran players. If they want to try the EOC, they can do it later in the game once they've figured out how to do something as basic as kill guards. Simple and social. And under one game, so that the community is no longer divided. Anyway, I'd like to finish this movie by asking my very, very loyal subscribers what they would like to see from my next movie. I have a list of 6 things here that I could possibly make for you. And just let me know in your comments what interests you the most. So I can go into a more detailed discussion on Legacy and really pick it apart from what I've gathered from Jagex. That will not take too much time at all. Or I could go into detailed discussion on the EOC combat beta. Perhaps even film my clan warring in it so that you can see firsthand what these changes would entail. Or I could go into discussion on the 07 Wilderness Revival, and that's really my specialty. People on Zybest forums actually criticize me a lot for blowing my own horn, but I'm very proud of this Wilderness Revival because I'd like to believe that I was responsible for putting the idea into Jagex's head. Anyway, stop me before my ego gets too big. Next, introducing. I could show you that footage where I did introduce my friends to both versions of RuneScape, seeing which one was better to the new players, and doing the comparison. I mean, from that, what I really found was that both have their advantages and disadvantages, and we really should have one game, not 2. Fifth, I could have a more personal video about my life so that you know why I take this game so seriously. 6, I've opened up to you guys. Anything else, it can be something light, like a music video, or me talking about my Runefest costume. Now, mind you, I am a musician, so the music video coming from me won't be atrocious, I can promise you that. Anyway, I'd like to just add one more thing, which is a reminder to look at the Wilderness biography if you haven't seen it. The link's on the screen now. It's the one movie that defines my contribution to RuneScape, and that is why I'm saying I am very, in the large part, responsible for the wilderness revitalization in 07. I think it's because of that movie that Jagex wanted to do that. Yeah, I'm proud to say that it was really this video that got Jagex interested in revitalizing the wilderness. And if you are serious about looking at the future of PKing, it is the only RuneScape related video you must watch. That's a big call, but it's true. All other PK videos that I've seen are trivial in comparison. And if you have a little spare time, weigh in on this controversial topic on Zybez. The link is in the video description. It's asking the big questions. Is it worth saving RuneScape, or should we let go and move on? I'm keen to hear what you guys think. Speaking of what you guys think, it's time to review a couple of comments. The Bloodbringer. As I mentioned in this video, I believe the time has passed for Jagex to bring back old PKs. PKing's only possible future now lies with today's generation of teenagers. Though if Jagex play their cards right, we'll be able to get many thousands of old players back from private servers and retirement. Born in Blood, I guess that the EOC beta is going to get overshadowed by the legacy update. I mean, most PKers aren't going to care about the EOC anymore now. I'm going to get my clan in there and try it out anyway, and make a video for those few of you who are interested. Bruce Ward, I was told that they will release free-to-play when they come up with a solution to botting in old school. Even still, free-to-play won't make old school grow very much in my opinion. It might stabilise it and stop it from dying, but I'd rather risk it on RS3 where the odds of a new golden age for PKing are significantly higher. Old school can't get new blood easily. Its population is 95% old veterans. The best the 07 team can hope for is to keep veterans, not recruit new players. Remember my biscuit example from this movie? That's the old school player base. And guys, true story, in the past I have applied to be an audio developer for Jagex. Thanks to everyone who said I'd make a great mod, but before anything else in my life I'm a composer, a musician, and at the end of the day these videos are a hobby. But I can recognise the compliment when I see one, so thank you for a second time. And Gaming Control, I mentioned free-to-play 2 comments ago, but I'll also add the point that yes, adding free-to-play is important for old school, but only if my dream of merging into one perfect game can't come true. If we did merge, then you'd have free-to-play, wouldn't you? Sure, a merge would destroy a lot of things. For example, I like not having a grand exchange, but it's a small price to pay beside the revival of wilderness PvP, the main reason so many of us play, myself included.